Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to share some updates, some speed reviews on all of the new drugstore makeup I've been testing out over the last few weeks. There have been so many drugstore launches in January. I feel like it's the most I've ever seen in the beginning of the year. And I've been trying a lot of these out. I wanted to update you and let you know which products are the standouts, the must-haves for me personally, which products are good but not necessarily great, and then which products I don't recommend. I also just placed a big Ulta order because there were a ton of new drugstore launches from Essence, Flower Beauty, Makeup Revolution, so I'll be testing those out as well. So if you're not already subscribed, I would love for you to stick around. I film videos all about drugstore and affordable makeup products. And before we get into those products, let me update you on these because I've really been putting them to the test. Okay, so let me kick off the video with my personal top 3 favorite must-haves. I've been using these products every single day since I purchased them, and I feel like at the end of 2023, like these are already going to be in my top makeup products of the year. So the first one is from e.l.f. This one is the Power Grip Primer plus 4% niacinamide. I absolutely love this product. So if you've tried the original Power Grip Primer, it's the exact same texture. I really don't notice a difference as I'm applying the product, but I do feel like my skin and the foundation that I apply on top of this foundation looks better when I use this one compared to the original. At first I thought maybe I was imagining it, and I do have a video where I tried a lot of these products on if you want to see them in action. But as I've used it with different foundations and worn it throughout the day over the last few weeks, I definitely think my foundation looks a little bit better. I also feel like my skin looks really smooth when I use this primer, and again, that's the same case with the original one, but not to the same extent. So for me, there are some subtle differences, but I definitely notice them. It gives my skin a little bit more of a glow, more of a smooth finish, and I think if you have the original one, I wouldn't say like throw that one away, run out and buy this one, but if you use it up fully and you like the idea of having some skincare benefits and a little bit more of a glowy base, then this could be a great option for you if you're planning on repurchasing it. The next product that definitely blew me away and has become an absolute staple in my daily makeup routine is this one from Milani. It's the Conceal and Perfect Blur Out Powder. If you watch my video where I tried these products on for the first time, like you can see a major difference in the skin as I use this to not only set my concealer, but also set the rest of my face. It's very, very lightweight, but incredibly smoothing, which is like my most ideal powder formula these days. I also like the packaging. In the past, I wasn't always the biggest fan of packaging like this, but it has a lid that you snap closed, and then it has like a little net. So you just tap your brush right in there, and it really isn't quite as messy as other loose powders, which is great. I think this powder plays so perfectly with creams, and I feel like I've had a hard time finding that. If you are someone who wears a lot of cream cheek products, you'll really enjoy this because it is so lightweight. It doesn't necessarily create that cakey look that other powders can when you apply them on top of creams or under creams. It's also, again, just silky. So I feel like when you apply it, it doesn't necessarily hide the luminosity that a cream product provides. So I absolutely love it. The only con for me is that I wouldn't consider it like a true translucent powder. It definitely has a little bit of like a peachy orange shade to it, which now that I'm looking at it, I can definitely see in the pan or in the packaging. So if you have a lighter skin tone than me, I don't think it will be ideal for you. If I use a powder puff to set my concealer, it definitely, like it's noticeable. The middle of my face looks very orange. So for me, the most ideal way to use this is with a large fluffy brush, and I feel like it's perfect that way. One other con that I've seen in the comments of my videos when I talk about this is some people say it causes flashback when they're doing like flash photography or using the flash on their phone. I don't know, I never take photos with the flash. So for me, that's not a big concern, but if you are taking a lot of photos with the flash, keep that in mind. I haven't experienced that. I did like a testing photo just to see, and I didn't have any issues, but I also didn't really like layer it up under my eyes. So if you're using a lot of the product or you're taking a ton of flash photos, you might experience flashbacks. So maybe not ideal for special occasions, which kind of sucks because it is such a lightweight smoothing powder. Just keep that in mind. Another one of my top favorites is this product from Covergirl. I'm so excited because I've told you guys before, I just want to love Covergirl. They were the first makeup brand I ever tried, and I feel like maybe 2023 is the year they kind of make a little bit of a comeback. I'm calling it right now. I feel like this is going to be my favorite lip gloss formula of the year. This is the Clean Fresh Yummy Gloss. They have a bunch of beautiful shades. It's definitely more of a sheer formula. I would say I probably have like the deepest shades right here. I ended up purchasing the shade Acai Later, which is kind of like a dark cherry plum, and then I have like a light orange, which I can't find that one. I'm sure it's upstairs or in my car because I've been wearing that one a lot. but I ended up picking up 2 more shades, so I'll swatch them for you. Like I said, these are the darkest shades and they're pretty sheer. So overall, you're going to get like a very light wash of color. I'm wearing this one today. It's called My Straw Booty. It is kind of like a really bright red. So obviously, as you can see on my lips, they're not bright red. It's definitely more of a sheer formula. It just adds a hint of color. They're not the most long lasting. Sorry, I just hit my microphone. I've been talking a lot and I feel like it's starting to wear off already. So it is something that I kind of reapply throughout the day. I would say it's more of a lip oil formula. I'm kind of surprised they didn't market them as lip oils. That's the kind of formula I tend to go for because it is so lightweight. Really glossy, really comfortable, but not long lasting. So keep that in mind. You'll have to reapply it throughout the day. But I love reapplying these because they smell so good. It has this really sweet candy-like fruity scent. So I think it is so good. If you don't like scented lip products, keep that in mind, but I love it. I think the doe foot is perfect. I love like the bigger chunky packaging. The colors are beautiful. I just can't stop wearing them. They are available at Ulta, but I was actually just at CVS the other day because I did pick up 2 more and they had them at CVS and I forgot CVS has the best coupons. I picked up the 2 additional shades and got them for like $4 each. So I love these so much. I feel like they're going to be my new go-to formula. While we're on the topic of CoverGirl, I do want to talk about their new eyeshadow palettes. So I have 2. The first one I purchased is Dreamy Pink. I used this one in that testing new drugstore video, and a lot of you guys were really complimentary of my eye look. It came together so well. When I was using the palette at first, I wasn't sure about the formula because it was like the first time I was trying it out on camera, but now that I've had the chance to use it more and more, I really love it. I find myself reaching for this so often. It really is like the perfect everyday quad. So when I was at the drugstore the other day, I wanted to check these out in person, and the color stories in person just kind of appealed to me. They're not necessarily anything super unique, super vibrant, which is why they appealed to me, because for me, this is like a good everyday eyeshadow formula. So I picked this one up in Shimmering Beige. I'm wearing this one on my eyes today. There are some different textures going on within each palette, so you get the matte shadow, you get like a softer, slightly creamier shimmer, and then the metallic, which I think is on the end in every palette, feels a little bit dry, but once you apply it to the eyes, it looks really pretty. Now, the thing about these is they're kind of expensive for drugstore shadows. Each quad is $13.99. $13.99 feels very, very high for 4 eyeshadows, especially when there are other options out there like the e.l.f. bite-sized eyeshadow palettes or the hard candy quads. Each of those comes with 4 shades and they're both under $5. These are a little bit bigger, but if you're looking to save money by buying drugstore makeup, this might not be the most ideal option. Also, when I did order from Ulta's website, I got one and it was completely shattered. I would recommend going into an actual physical drugstore or at Ulta. They weren't at Ulta last time I checked, but I'm sure they're coming soon, and purchasing them because the shimmer shadows do seem like they're a little more fragile. I'm going on a trip in the next week, so I'm going to bring one with me and we'll see how it holds up. I think it will be fine in my makeup bag, but maybe not ideal if you're ordering online. While we're on the topic of expensive drugstore makeup, let me share 2 other products that are $14. $14 is expensive for a drugstore product. It's kind of up there with mid-range pricing, and if the quality is there, it might be worth it to you, but in the case of these 2 products, they definitely have some major cons. Let's start with this product. It is the NYX Bare With Me Blur Skin Tint Foundation. So first of all, I feel like the marketing with this product is a little bit all over the place. It's kind of confusing, and as I'm kind of watching reviews and hearing what people have to say about this product, it doesn't seem like they marketed it super clearly. Because it is part of the Bare With Me line, a lot of people automatically associate it with the Bare With Me concealer, which is gorgeous. It's very smooth on the skin. It has a little bit more of a skin-like finish, but it still has really nice coverage, and most people really enjoy that, whether you have dry skin or oily skin. Of course, there are people who don't like it, but I think a lot of people assumed this was going to be very similar. Also on the website, sometimes they call it a skin tint, sometimes they call it a foundation, and those are 2 very, very different products. Sometimes they do say that it is a matte finish, and then other times they say something like 12 hours of hydration. I guess technically a matte finish and a hydrating formula can coexist, but typically you don't see those 2 phrases used to describe the same product. So in my experience, I would say that it is a medium coverage or like medium to buildable coverage foundation with a blurring matte finish. As you apply it to the skin and blend it in, it looks so pretty. It definitely has a blurring quality to it. I like to actually just apply it with my fingers. I don't find that it looks as great when I use a brush or a sponge. Just smoothing it into the skin with my fingers works perfectly, kind of like a BB cream or a CC cream. I would say it has a very similar texture to a CC cream. But unlike a lot of other CC creams, this one dries down and it looks super matte on the skin. It doesn't feel uncomfortable or dry, but I think if you have dry skin, you might disagree with me. My skin is pretty normal these days, a little bit oily in my T-zone, so that's why I typically say it's more combo. If I am dealing with a little bit of dryness around my nose, this product can enhance that dryness. So if you have dry skin, I really would say stay away unless you prep your skin super well with a really nice moisturizing primer. There is a really good shade range, but I think the shade I got is a little bit too light. I went with vanilla. In the actual packaging, it looks like it's going to be way too yellow and a little bit too dark, but on my skin, it's a lot lighter. So I actually ended up ordering a different shade. I think it will actually be a great option for me during the summertime because it is lightweight, it has pretty good coverage, it dries down matte, and it doesn't feel heavy on my skin. But if you have dry skin, I definitely would stay away from it. The other product that has major cons for me is this one from Milani. This is the highly rated Lash Extensions Tubing Mascara. This was definitely my biggest fail out of all of the products that I'm sharing in today's video. I'm not going to say I don't recommend it at all because I do think there are people out there who enjoy it, but it's expensive. It's $13.99. I feel like there are so many good tubing mascaras out there, although I don't know of a ton of tubing mascaras at the drugstore. So if you guys have any recommendations, please leave them in the comments for people who do enjoy tubing mascaras. This is the type of mascara that definitely needs time to dry out, and I like more of a wet mascara formula because I find that they do build well, but I just don't think this formula with this brush work well together. I almost feel like this brush would have been better if it had slightly longer bristles. The bristles on here are so short, so in my experience, it doesn't do a great job at like distributing the product all the way through your lashes. I do think this does a really great job on the bottom lashes because it really extends them and it separates them, which is so weird to me because it doesn't do that on my top lashes. But you know, I have noticed that I do prefer some mascaras for the bottom, some for the top. Because it is a tubing mascara, I find that it doesn't flake or smudge on those bottom lashes, which is really, really nice. I also like layering this on top of mascaras that give volume but not length, because if I take a super small amount of this and just add it as like the finishing layer to my volumizing mascara, it does give me a little more length. On its own, it's just really not ideal. It's very wet, very messy, clumps my lashes together, but I have found a few ways to make it work. Again, am I really looking to make a $14 mascara work? Not really, because there are $5 options I like, but I do have it, so I'll continue to use it. And again, if it dries out more over the next few weeks and performs better, I'll keep you posted. I also tried this mascara from e.l.f. This is the Lash and Roll Mascara. It's $6, and I really like this one. I think it does a great job at separating and lifting the lashes. It adds a small amount of volume, but I would definitely consider it more of like a natural everyday mascara. I used to only want mascaras that added like a ton of volume that looked so dramatic and almost a little bit clumpy. That's not usually the case for me these days, especially if I'm doing more of a natural quick makeup look. I like mascara, but I don't want anything over the top. So when that's the case, I reach for this one. I do think it does a great job of lifting and curling the lashes. And again, it's $6. I've compared it in a couple of recent videos to the Tower 28 mascara. That one's a little more dramatic and adds slightly more volume, but this is $6. So I do feel like it's nice to have a very affordable option that does something similar. So I like it. I really do recommend it unless you're looking for super dramatic over-the-top lashes. Let's talk about these. These are the e.l.f. Luminous Putty Bronzers. I have two shades. They're $7 each. So I have Vacay Mood, which is the one I'm wearing today. It's the one I've been reaching for most often. I actually really love this shade. When I first saw it, I wasn't sure because typically when it comes to bronzer, I do go in with a very warm-toned bronzer like this one. This one is called Summer Fridays. But I feel like this shade has been perfect for me during the winter time. I love the way it looks. It's very subtle, but I feel like it just works well with my skin tone, and it's not so orangey, so warm-toned, obviously. Like, it looks kind of cool-toned in the pan, but I would say it pulls more neutral on the skin. I've been a big fan of the putty products overall, but when they launched their Luminous Putty blushes last summer, I fell in love because they look so glowy on the skin. They do make my skin look very healthy, very luminous, but they're not quite as intense as like a true cream product. Like the Makeup Revolution cream bronzer is my favorite, but that looks very glowy, very dewy on the skin. These feel more like an actual putty product on the skin. They're not drying. They definitely have a glow to them, but because they have like that traditional putty base, they are more of a cream to powder. I think they look a little more natural. It's kind of hard to go overboard with these. They don't necessarily last on the skin as long as like the LYS cream bronzer or what's another really long-lasting cream bronzer? The Makeup by Mario one. They fade by the end of the day, but because they are a little bit more natural, I feel like they're perfect for everyday wear. So I enjoy them a lot. I've been using them nonstop. I also wanted to talk about these. These are the e.l.f. Camo Color Correctors. So I don't think I've talked about these on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok, but I have been testing them out off camera. They're $4. They're very inexpensive. So they have these 3 shades for a variety of skin tones. There is a very light yellow toned bright one, which I do use under my eyes to kind of mix in with concealer, or sometimes I'll use this in place of like the Rare Beauty under eye brightener. It's a great option if you have a similar skin tone to me. There is a pink toned one if you deal with like blue or purple under the eyes, and then there is a darker one if you have a deeper skin tone too. There's a green one to kind of combat some redness, and then a blue one, which I do like to kind of neutralize more yellow toned foundations. They're nice to mix in with products because they're very creamy. They don't necessarily change the texture of my products, but I haven't used them with everything. What I've used so far has been a great experience. They do say that these are full coverage online. I don't know that I would really consider that to be the case. I mean, I'm applying the blue one on my hand right now. Like as I swatch it on my hand, you can still see that freckle underneath. So I don't find them to be full coverage, but I think that's almost a little bit more ideal because if you're using a super intense full coverage color corrector and then you're layering a foundation on top, you're going to see it underneath. So I like the fact that these are a little thinner, I would say. I mean, they're kind of light coverage, honestly. Yeah, I would say light to medium coverage. So you're not going to get like a true full coverage finish, but I don't think that's really going to be what you want if you're looking to mix it into another product. But I do think it is a really nice option. Again, affordable. So if you're looking to kind of try color correction and you don't want to invest in something super expensive, these are a great option to start with. 2 more complexion products. I did test out this concealer from Makeup Revolution, the IRL Filter Finish Soft Matte Concealer. I really love this texture, and I know a lot of people did not like the IRL filter from Makeup Revolution or the IRL filter foundation, but I actually love that. I think it looks so pretty on the skin. It's very lightweight, very smooth, but it has great coverage. That being said, I don't think this concealer is the exact same. So if the foundation didn't work for you, don't necessarily write this off immediately. I mean, you can if you want. There are so many great concealers out there, but I do enjoy this one, and it's pretty affordable. It's $7. It's a really nice lightweight texture. I would say that it has really good coverage. Definitely more of like a medium buildable coverage concealer. You could definitely build this up to be full coverage on the skin, which I do think is nice, but as I apply like a light layer and blend it out, it does have more of like a medium coverage finish. Again, very, very smoothing, super creamy, but it stays in place really well on the skin. It does have a scent, almost like a subtle paint scent. Once it's on the skin, I don't notice it, but that is something I want to point out in case you are sensitive to scent. But I think this product wears so well all day long. If you want to build it up, it does not look heavy or cakey on the skin. I think this is a more ideal foundation or a more ideal formula than the foundation. If the foundation had more of this formula, I think more people would like it. I find that it truly is like a long wearing, very lightweight, I guess they describe it as breathable. I don't know why I never use that word to describe makeup products, but that is what it's like. It's a breathable, long-wearing, medium to full coverage concealer. It's great, it's affordable, very smoothing. I really do love this. So this is going to be one of my favorites this year. I already know it. The last complexion product I wanted to share with you is something that's been out for a little while, but I just tried it out. I'm late to the game, but I picked up the Essence 16-Hour Cover and Last Powder Foundation. I've heard a lot of people raving about this, and I do think it's worth the hype. It's such a gorgeous formula. Between this and the e.l.f. powder foundation, I can't imagine I'm going to buy a high-end powder foundation anytime soon. This is $6. It's super affordable. It looks great on the skin. I have the shade Bright Beige. It does look good as an actual powder foundation. It's very smoothing, very, very lightweight. I would say it's less intense than the e.l.f. powder foundation. So if that one's a little bit too much for you, because that one is like a true full coverage powder foundation, this one might be more ideal. Because it is more lightweight, I do find that I can also use it as a setting powder under the eyes. It looks really smooth. It adds just a little bit of coverage if I'm using like a large fluffy brush everywhere, and it does wear really well throughout the day. It's really, really nice, and I think it's really nice for touch-ups throughout the day as well. This does have a little bit of a scent to it. I feel like it kind of smells like a little bit fruity, maybe a little bit fresh as well. I don't notice it once it's on the skin, but again, that's just something I try to point out because I know so many of you are sensitive to scents. So I do love this. I think it's absolutely worth the $6 price tag. If this was twice the price, I would repurchase it. It's so good. Milani actually launched new eyeshadow palettes as well. I haven't used this one on camera yet, but I'll use it in an upcoming video so you can see how it performs. These are the Gilded mini eyeshadow palettes. I think there are maybe 4 different color stories. I picked up this one in Wind Down. I wanted to try out this formula because I've tried a few Milani palettes in the past, but it's been a little while, and these looked kind of different. First of all, I love the color story. I think it is so pretty. I love the purples, and all of these just flow really well together. Sometimes when you get a smaller palette, it feels like they're missing just like 1 or 2 shades, but these 6 shades are perfect whether you want to do something really soft or a little bit more dramatic. I would say Milani's formula overall feels a little bit more dry, but it performs well. If you were just to swatch this in stores, you might not feel very compelled to add it to your collection because it doesn't feel that great as you're swatching it. But I feel like the true test is when you actually apply it to the eyes, and it applies really nicely. It's a buildable formula, so it starts off soft and then you can gradually build up the shadows. The shimmers are best with your finger or a wet brush. I don't always use a wet brush when I'm doing my makeup, but I feel like these almost need it if I'm not using my fingers. I always like to apply shimmers with my fingers anyway, but I like it. It's not the most amazing, outstanding formula I've ever tried, but I think it is a very nice beginner-friendly option or everyday option if you like more of a buildable formula. I did want to talk about this single shadow from the Ulta Beauty collection, which is their in-house brand. It's not a brand new launch, but I decided to pick it up because I did hear some people say this was like a good dupe for the Urban Decay Moondust eyeshadows. So I was just curious about it. I love the Moondust eyeshadow formula. I just recently picked up Space Cowboy. A lot of you guys said ColourPop Ritz is a dupe for that one. I know I have that somewhere in my collection. I just haven't pulled it out yet. But this one is very similar too. The formula is a lot different, but the effect it gives on the eyes is close. This one is in the shade Sugar Cookie. This one's maybe just like slightly more, I guess, silvery and almost like a little bit more subtle, but that could be more ideal for you if the Moondust eyeshadow is too intense. Obviously, it's less expensive. I mean, this is $9, so it's not quite as inexpensive as the ColourPop Super Shock shadow, but this brand goes on sale all the time for like 50% off. Honestly, the Ulta Beauty line is so underrated. They have a ton of great products. I need to do a video on all of my favorites, but I do really like this. It has like a creamy, bouncy texture, so not quite as creamy as the ColourPop Super Shock shadows, but definitely not like a true powder shadow, kind of in the middle. Anyway, it looks great on the eyes. It's very smooth. I think it looks so pretty on its own as like a nice one and done shadow. Like just this and some mascara is so pretty for like an easy everyday look. And then 2 different lip products I wanted to share with you. The first one is the Burt's Bees Gloss and Glow Glossy Balm. I have the shade Wine Wednesday. I told you guys these actually came out a few months ago, but they always seem to be sold out on Ulta's website. And one of you said this is actually a dupe for Clinique's Black Honey, so that could explain it. I haven't seen these in stores. Like I've gone to a few drugstores lately, or no, I was at Target looking at the Burt's Bees section and then also CVS, and they didn't have these in store. The only place I've seen them is on Ulta's actual website. So if you've seen these anywhere else, please let us know because it is a really nice formula. I think it is such a gorgeous like everyday option because it is a glossy balm, just as they describe it. It feels like a lip balm. It has a really pretty glossy finish with a sheer wash of color. It is so moisturizing, super comfortable. It's kind of similar to the e.l.f. Sheer Slick Lipsticks, which were actually discontinued. I'm so sad about that. I do think they still have the shade that's kind of similar to Clinique's Black Honey, but if you didn't get your hands on those and you were kind of curious about them, this is a really good alternative. It's also maybe somewhat similar to ColourPop's Glowing Lip formula without the same pigmentation. This is definitely more of like a sheer light wash of colors. So I love it because it's more customizable. You can wear it on its own over a lip liner as a topper, and it's very just so pretty on the lips. The last thing I wanted to talk about in today's video are these new lipsticks from e.l.f. These are the Face Satin Lipsticks. They are $9, so definitely more expensive than other e.l.f. lipstick launches. I was kind of surprised by the price point because e.l.f. does have a $3 lipstick I love, the Seriously Satin Finish, which is definitely more of a matte lipstick, which I think kind of throws people off because it has satin in the name. But those are great and they're $3. These are $9. They do have more of a true satin finish than those, and they did step up the packaging. Like, these feel a lot nicer. They have a magnetic closure, a soft touch matte finish. You can tell when you apply the lipstick to the lips, it feels a little more luxe. Like, it's very smooth, super creamy. I wish they had additional shades. So I have No Doubt, and then I also have Hustle. Neither one of these look great on me. I can make them work. I'll usually just mix them with a lip liner, but I do wish they had additional shades. I feel like I'm kind of picky about my nude lipsticks, so I wish they had like lighter nudes and deeper nudes. A lot of the shades are red or berry toned, so I do hope they will come out with additional lipsticks in the future. But, you know, I do feel like that $9 price point, while it is high for e.l.f., I feel like it's kind of on par with other lipsticks of the same formula. I would say they're maybe somewhat similar to the ColourPop Luxe lipsticks, but definitely creamier. So I want to say those are like $8 or $9. So these are a really great option, and if you like this type of formula, I don't think you'll be disappointed by them. So that's everything I wanted to share with you in today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for being here. I would love to know if you guys have tried any of these products and what you think, if they worked for you or if they didn't. Like I said, I have some more drugstore videos coming your way because there are a ton of drugstore launches this month, and I'm excited about that because makeup is getting expensive. So I love that there are more affordable options. Although, like we said in today's video, a lot of these products are kind of mid-range pricing. But I will continue to test out all of the new drugstore launches, let you know what's worth the money, what isn't. So thanks again for being here. I'll see you on Tuesday with a new video. Bye.